Ho ho ho! Merry Christmas, everybody! This is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you in the month of December, since it is Christmas time and the holiday time, about A Christmas Story. Man, this movie takes me back. I still remember being a little kid and watching this movie, but I didn't watch it when it came out. Because I think I was just born then, so can't watch it as a baby, but I watched it as a little kid. And so it's directed by Bob Kane, not Bob Kane, but Bob Clark, and it was written by Gene Shepard, and he also does the voice of older Ralphie. In fact, like, I had no idea about this until I started researching it. But apparently, there are 8 movies in total. I know of this one. I know the one on HBO Max that just came out this year, but I had no idea about the others. And they all revolve around Ralphie and his family, and they're always recast with a brand new cast. Matt Dillon played Ralphie the year prior to this movie. Then many years later, even Jerry O'Connell from Sliders and Star Trek Lower Decks, he was Ralphie at some point. I'm just like, holy crap, I never knew there were 8 movies until. However, I don't know about the HBO Max movie just yet because that has mixed reviews. There's another one that has mixed reviews, but a lot of the ones that came out in the 80s and 90s got negative reviews. Some are about Christmas. There's one called A Christmas Story 2. There's one about like Thanksgiving and one about like the summer. It is insane. And like, if you watch my Goosebumps Go Eat Worms video, the guy who plays the main character, who now calls himself 40, he's actually in this movie, kinda. He's in his mom's stomach. His mom was the teacher in the movie and stuff. And what's so crazy is the guy who plays Ralphie, Peter Billingsley. He was in the first Iron Man movie and also in Spider-Man No Way Home. He's the scientist that Obadiah Stane tells him he wants him to build an arc reactor very small like Tony Stark. And he's all like, there's just no way possible to do it. And he's all like, Tony Stark did it in a cave with scrap. It's that dude. Though the scientist dude who's all like, I'm not Tony Stark. And so I never knew that. But when it comes to recurring cast, only in the HBO Max one and this one does all the cast recur, except for the father who sadly passed away a few years back, and the mother who is retired from acting. So they had to recast the mom, which is kind of sad. I haven't watched the HBO Max one yet. I'm a little scared. I mean, 39 years ago, that's a long time to make a direct sequel to that movie and stuff. However, they're all sequels to each, because the franchise and stuff. I still never knew there was 8 movies. But A Christmas Story, man, I'm not much of a Christmas movie kind of person. I'll watch a Christmas special on like a TV show episode, as you know, because I reviewed a bunch last year. Go watch those. But I've never really been a movie Christmas kind of person. I watched stuff like in school, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and claymation stuff. But I just never been one for the holiday cheer and Christmas movies. But then there's this movie, Like a Wonderful Life. I've never seen that. I might have seen A Christmas Carol. I don't know. I know I saw the Mickey Mouse one. But this movie, man, now that takes me back. Takes me back to when I was a little kid. I don't know what the world I was doing, but I was watching TV on the old boob tube TV. Didn't have cable. I was flipping around trying to find something to watch on the weekend. It was like sometime in the afternoon. It was like real early in the afternoon, probably like 12, something like that. This is before I think TBS started airing it every Christmas Eve. And then all of a sudden, this movie came on. And I don't know what it was, But I just sat down and watched it and I absolutely loved it. I just rewatched it again and man, I laughed and laughed and it holds up. Like there are movies and then there's perfection. And this is truly perfection in my opinion. The acting is amazing. There's an actual plot with the main character and everything. The supporting cast is great. The jokes always land, and it's just amazing. And maybe what's so great about this movie is anybody and everybody can relate to at least something in this movie, and even multiple things. Like, because there's so many things that occur in this movie that is just natural. We have all experienced or this in some form or another. A gift you really want, and you try to like get somebody to buy it for you. Getting like chased and picked on by bullies, teasing your friend, daring them to do something. I remember when I was a kid, somebody's all like, don't step in that mud, you'll slip and fall. I'm like, I ain't gonna slip and fall. So I stepped in it. I slipped, I fell, ran back home to change my clothes, ran back to the bus station, and boom, missed the bus. And it's like, getting like I don't know, it's just like there's so much crazy stuff that goes on in this movie. It's like it feels like it's a part of your life, but you're watching it through the eyes of somebody else. And like it's really amazing because the dude who wrote this, Gene, did a great job. This you can tell this is something he was passionate about. But he had wrote other stories about this back in the day. And you can tell this wasn't rushed. He took his time. He made sure everything landed. You don't see that nowadays with movies, and it's quite a shame. And the setting is like 1940s in here. I never really realized that when I watched it all those years ago. And it makes you wonder how simple life was back then. And it was just like all they had was like radio, newspapers, and themselves. There was no internet. Some people really didn't have TV. Um, kids just went outside and played. They did like the whole Orphan Annie Ovaltine, like the Coda Ring thing. It was just simpler times back then. And it's really amazing how much time has changed, especially with technology. And like I said, the recurring cast is great. The mom is so phenomenal in this movie. She is a true matriarch and everything. Like she's always like she's old fashioned, like sit in the kitchen, clean stuff like that, because it's 1940s. But boy, she's doing everything. She's getting the kids dressed. She's fixing the food. She had to stop Ralphie from beating the snot out of the bully. Speaking of the bully, I didn't know that was him. Like, I saw him in the second Resident Evil. He's one of the umbrella guys who get bit by the dogs. And he actually sued Warner Brothers twice back in 2011, I think it was, because they tried to sell something with his face, like merchandise, and his contract. I don't know, something was weird going on in his contract where he wasn't getting no money for his likeness and stuff. But that got thrown out of court. But then a year later, a kid came up to him for him to sign like a board game, and it's from the movie. And it had his face on him. So he sued them again. And 3 days later, he won that case. Warner Brothers, so sneaky. And of course, the house is like a museum now, and it's for sale. And they used to give tours and stuff, which is funny because I read on TMZ a couple of months ago, one of the guys who played like the best friend, they was giving tours for the house, but somebody actually owned the house and called the cops. But now he's selling it and stuff. And but the mom, she was just like great, man. It was like so funny when Ralph like cussed and she put the soap in his mouth. And then like, she wanted to know like where he heard that from. And of course he heard it from his dad, but he couldn't say it. And then so he lied and said it was his friend. So the most hilarious thing, man. Mom calls like the mother of the friend talking about Ralphie just said the F word, and the mom's like, "What?" And she's like, "Your son, the one who taught him that word." Boy, she tore his butt up. And it's funny because after Ralphie got done with his punishment, the mom put the soap in her mouth to see what that tastes like and stuff. And it's like the humor is so on point. It's just so, it's not awkward, weird like Disney, Marvel. It's actual real humor. The dad surprised me with how funny he is. I was expecting him to be more like the Wonder Years father, like a brute, like grumpy and mean, or just like tearing people's butts up with belt. Like that's what I thought he was gonna be like, but he was the complete opposite. And when he won that prize, he was so ecstatic. You know, back in those days, they didn't have nothing to do. And so he won that ugly leg lamp that his wife just hated, and Ralphie just filling up the leg and everything. And he was, I remember seeing that part in the movie. I'm just like, why is he so happy to have that thing? It's ugly and stuff. I'm all like, what am I watching? But I couldn't stop watching it. I just could not stop watching this movie. Then there's like the friend who like sticks his tongue on like the pole and everything. Every time these little boys holler and scream in the movie, they always sound like little girls and they all sound the same. And you know, Randy, the little brother, man, he's awesome, man. With the jacket, I can't put my arms down. And like when the bully came, he's just laying on the ground, and Ralphie's all like, "Ah, there goes Randy laying like a slug. His only defense." Like these lines are memorable, man. And of course, you can't forget the man himself, Ralphie. A little precocious little kid. Like he's a good kid with a bit of a temper, and like he just wants a BB gun rifle and everything, and that's all he wants. And he's trying his best just to get it for Christmas. And of course, everybody keeps telling him, "You'll shoot your eye out," and so he's determined to get it. But that's not what the whole movie's about. He only tries to get it like maybe 3 or 4 times, and then after that, he just goes about his normal life, and we get to see the life in the day of Ralphie going to school, running from the bullies, beating the bully up, trying to get that Dakota ring thing, which the hallucinations, man. When he's daydreaming, my God, this little boy, I swear to God, like he's like, oh, when you get in your 20s, you start to go blind and everything. And then the teacher's all like, oh my God, you want a BB gun? Hey, hey, and she's just like she's floating on air on the chalkboard, just writing the word A on there. I'm just like, man, these things are awesome. And like when the little robbers they come in the backyard and he shoots them with the BB gun and stuff. Oh man, in the pink bunny pajamas. Oh boy. They actually took a picture like 30 years later. And it was so cool to see them older and stuff. And I really hope that HBO Max movie is great. Like, I really do. And so, like, of course, he keeps, like, trying to get that gun. And he finally gets it. His dad finally got it for Christmas and everything. And he goes outside, and of course, what happened? He shoots his eye out, which was the cherry on top. But that little rascal lied about how he broke his glasses because his glasses were fine, but he couldn't see. So he stepped on them. And then he's all like, oh, an icicle fell from the garage and not my eye out. And then when his mom believed that he broke the fourth wall, just like looked at him with a big smile on his face. This movie, man, I swear. I love this movie so much. And what's so funny, his name is Ralphie, and he has red glasses and blonde hair. Because there used to be a talk show host called Sally Jesse Raphael, and she used to wear red glasses. Man, whatever happened to her? She disappeared and stuff. Worse than that Jenny Jones lady. Jenny Jones disappeared. I used to follow Jenny Jones back in the day because she started a YouTube channel where she cooks. But then she disappeared from that and she likes to live a quiet, private life. Similar to the original mom in this movie, she's retired and she lives a private life and nobody knows where she's at. But she came back for the 30th anniversary picture op and everything. And so, I never seen none of the sequels because I literally just found out about them. But they're weird, man. There's one where he's like a teenager and he wants a car and I think he likes this girl. And it's weird knowing they had all these movies with completely different casts. Even a year prior with Matt Dillon of all people. However, only this one is the one people respect and love. And, honestly, you should check it out. It's on HBO Max. Christmas Story Christmas, the HBO Max 2022 one is on HBO Max. And A Christmas Story 2, which I've never seen and I never will. But of course, it is Christmas Eve today and TBS is going to show A Christmas Story. 24 hours. Oh yeah, I remember when they used to do that. Like I remember I would watch it and then okay, after that I'm like I ain't watching it again. And it's like, it's weird because it's like I haven't watched this movie in years. I don't know how many years it's been. But God, it felt so good to watch it again, man. I swear, like you have to watch this movie. Like if there's any kind of Christmas movie you should watch, is this one. And Home Alone. The first two. None of the rest. Bah humbug, that was a good episode. Alright everybody, I'll talk to you later. Bye.